I have listened to sermons and read books for 60 years, yet I've never heard a message on this biblical person's life. The story they are involved in is famous, but they seem to be ignored. They are only mentioned in 2 verses in Scripture, but I want to begin drawing lessons from their young life. We find this slave girl in the story of Naaman and Elisha. We read about her in 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 2 to 3. Now bands of raiders from Aram had gone out and taken captive a young girl from Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "If only my master would see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would cure him of his leprosy." Now this girl is amazing. Think about her story for a minute. She is a young girl in Israel. Like every young girl, she has her friends, she has her dreams of the future. Then suddenly, one day, it's all shattered. Was she out walking and simply in the wrong place at the wrong time when the raiders came by? Were she and her friends playing in a field and suddenly the hoofbeats of horses came into their ears and in panic they rushed and she scooped up by these people and taken to another country? Did her parents spend the rest of their lives wondering what had happened to her? Or was maybe her town raided and her parents were maybe killed in front of her? Now, we have no way of knowing the exact circumstance, but whatever the details, it was a dramatic and life-changing event that swept her from being a free-born Israelite to being a slave girl in a foreign country, with foreign gods, people she did not know, a language she did not understand, away from all that was familiar. How would you have felt? Bitter? Angry? Resentful? Would you keep believing in God? Or would you turn your back on Him for allowing these horrible things to happen to you? What would have been your response? This young girl kept her faith. She knew she served the living God. At some level, she had a grasp of the goodness and sovereignty of God. Somehow, in all this tragedy, God was at work. She could continue to love Him and serve others, no matter what her circumstances. How do we know that was her attitude? By her actions. Consider, one day, as she's going about her duties, she overheard her mistress talking to her husband, Naaman. Naaman, if he wasn't the man who had captured her, was certainly the man who had bought her. He had a problem. He had developed leprosy. Although he was the commander of the army, an enemy army, he was about to be cut off from people to prevent the contagious disease from spreading. His future was darker than hers. His wife was in tears. Her life, too, was shattered. If you were this young girl, what thoughts would be going through your head? Thoughts of blessing? I know what I would be thinking. They would not be nice thoughts. Serve you right. God is judging you for what you've done to me and to others. Maybe a less skilled commander would take your place, and this is how God is getting rid of you. Those kind of thoughts are natural when we're in situations like that. But if those thoughts flashed through her mind, they were quickly dispelled. We can see her mind working. My mistress' husband has a problem, and I know the answer. I can help. I can be a blessing. It seems as if she rushed to her mistress' side the first time she saw her alone and blurted out, "I know who can help. There's a prophet who can cure him. You don't need to cry anymore." And notice, there's no attempt at blackmail. I probably would have tried that. "I'll tell you if you let me go." This is free. It's spontaneous. It is love. It is the joy to help, to serve, to be a blessing. This young girl had accepted God's will for her life and was joyfully doing the best where she was in spite of the circumstances. Is this what Jesus meant when He said we were to love our enemies? Did He have this young girl in mind? Are we to follow the example of this girl whose name we will never know and yet has received a place in Scripture? Are we to joyfully bless others without considering how they may have hurt us? We can learn from this young Israelite girl. We all face circumstances, sometimes temporarily, sometimes permanently, that are unpleasant. Sometimes they're tragic and terrible. Sometimes they're life-altering. This little girl leads the way. Love God, trust Him, and be a blessing to all those around. This is not possible if we're living in bitterness, anger, or self-pity. Let us realize God is in control. He only does good. Therefore, good must ultimately come out of our situation if we will maintain our relationship with Jesus and a healthy attitude. So let us learn to be a blessing no matter what our situation, no matter who is around us. And there's more that we can learn from these two verses from this young girl's life, and we'll be looking at them later on. God bless. I would like to invite you to visit our free Bible study lessons website with over 800 pages. Now I know that can seem a little daunting, but there are different ways to find out what you're looking for. You can use our search bar at the top of any page. You can also go to our site map, which lists the different articles that we have written by their subjects and with direct links to each article. So you can just scroll through there, find ones that are interesting to you. You can also go up to Scripture Snapshots, which lists the verses that we have written about directly. And then you can just go and see if we've written on a verse that you're interested in. Or you can simply scroll through the list and look at the titles and see if there are a title that interests you. We also have Bible Streams, which is a list of subjects, and the articles are classified, linked to under different subjects that you can just go and browse through. You can also just enjoy and browse through our website. Don't forget to sign up for our free monthly newsletter. And while you're here, why don't you take a self-study Bible course? You just work at your own pace. Pick the ones that are of interest to you. Some of them are done online, some of them are emails. And then don't forget that at the bottom of any page you can add your own comments or questions. I trust you'll find this helpful. May God bless you.